So now the question is being and becoming. So in a sense, it's more like the statement of everything is happening, but nothing ever happens. So there's nothing that we ever become. There's becoming things and then unbecoming things and becoming states and unbecoming states and becoming something and unbecoming something, or unbecoming something then becoming something. But it's all an activity that actually the baseline is the act of being. Yes? So the being is in all of it, and there's no becoming that has a period at the end of it. You don't become anything and you turn into that. There's always going to be volatility. So you can unbecome and become certain conditions all day. You can become a nice guy at 11 and then unbecome being a nice guy at 12:30, yelling at traffic on the street. So there is no stability. In other words, we'd like to have a verb turn into a noun, but it doesn't work that way. All there is being, so all there is verbing. So the idea of becoming, wanting to have a permanent seat in this game of musical chairs is an impossibility. So maybe you have a seat assignment for a few years, so now you think you have become a teacher, but you are not a teacher. Yeah? There's just the being a teacher. Yeah? And the being the teacher will be being something else. It may become being a non-teacher. But the being is always the underlying base. And we're hoping that some of the things we become, seemingly as an action figure, could stabilize, but it's not the case. It's like you're trying to build a stationary reference point on a moving sidewalk at the airport. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. So the sense of being is the underlying condition in all the unbecoming and the becoming and the unbecoming. And we'd like to have a still frame if we could put a button and say pause and then become that thing we like to be for a lot longer than we seem to be. But the fact is the underlying current washes any stationariness, any long-lastingness, any independent union. There's no islands in this stream, yes? It just goes on and on. There's appearance of islands, then there's a disappearance of islands, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. If you get the real theme, the underlying theme, which is there's all beingness. It's being in this appearance, it's being in the opposite appearance, it's being in when something arises, it's being in something when it starts eroding. It's the same base. But we would like to be able to push the pause button and become a nice guy, let's say. And then suddenly we're always in conflict with anything that could show us as an asshole. And so this is what happens, yeah? It's just a lot of, we're trying to stop a moving train, yeah? It just doesn't work, so. Yes, there's no stationary, no stationary thing. It's like trying to cut a coin. No matter how many times you cut it, there's still going to be two sides. So and then in becoming, there's always unbecoming. You can't have one without the other. So there's unbecoming, becoming, and unbecoming. And what all the while there's a hint or a understated but obvious declaration that you're a thing, a solid, independent, separate thing with certain frozen qualities that are you. It's not the case. As an appearance, you're always being worked on by becoming and unbecoming, becoming and unbecoming, becoming and unbecoming. It's like a living picture that gets brighter and darker, the hues change, the colors get emphasized differently, and you'd rather have one old black and white of you and then live as if you're that the rest of your fucking life. It doesn't work. Yeah? The only thing that's solid is the context. You see, it's like those shake-up things. The context shakes up the content. The content flies all over the place. But the context is the same space, yeah? Yeah. But we want to take ourselves to be content. But we want to have the quality of context. We want to not move. We want to be just the same the way I was when I was 18, you know? I want to look the same. I want to be able to play hockey the same. I want to have the hair I had, and it doesn't work, you know, obviously.
What's this propensity of feeling of being in control, this idea that you can, once you start believing that there is a possibility of some control, then you frame everything around it, and all these fluid events become not fluid events, they become objects. They become crystallized.
Well, to you, but
Yeah,
see,
yeah,
you
to
can't-
that- yeah, of course.
You can't stabilize that quality of movement. So
That's
it's
right,
always
yeah.
the chairs are all gonna move out of the place you
Yeah.
put them in. That's the way it goes, yeah, that's all wishful thinking. That I can stabilize, my girlfriend's gonna be the same girlfriend every day, never question anything I do, never have any opinion herself, and it doesn't, obviously. And then, but it's the meaning we put into it. If I could only do that, then everything would be great. But therefore, because I can't, it isn't great. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's, yeah.